Hello everybody, Jurgit already presented me, and for the past 10 years I am researching all growth forest ecosystems. And they're amazing, they're so beautiful that I think I could spend all the rest of my life in there. And they are located in the strict nature reserve, so there are no direct human disturbance, direct influence. But anyway, there are many natural disturbances, natural, let's say, disasters, and I can witness how some of the oldest, the biggest trees are dying. And for me, it's kind of natural cycle, natural processes. It's kind of beautiful. And actually, before I never tried to look at all the processes from the perspective of resilience. It was something new, and I was really happy about this ability to take a deeper look. And I would like to present you shortly what I discovered. So, at the beginning, I started to look for some kind of superpowers within species, within individuals. And for example, immortality. This is immortal jellyfish. It's a real scientific name. It really can be immortal and live forever if the conditions are right. But if condition changes, then I thought about giants of our planet, the biggest animals, the biggest trees. They're so huge that they have no predators, like no enemies. It looks like they must be really resilient, but are they? And then I thought about the most defensive, most spiky, most venomous, most poisonous, most camouflaged, or even most smelly, most stinky animals. Are they the most resilient? What about the fastest ones? Or some of them are so fast, like this Jesus Christ lizard. It can run so fast that it can really, literally run over on the surface of the water without drowning. Or even what about the most sleepy animals? About this, uh, which can recover or rest very effectively, like this dormouse. There are actually few species living here in Lithuania, but most of them never encounter one because they sleep most of their lifetime. Some of the species can sleep more than 80% of their lifetime. And that's really efficient in their way because they can survive at least twice longer than regular mice due to this ability to sleep over the winter. But are they really resilient? And I think not at all. They just really adapted to some particle conditions, but when there are disturbances, they're really vulnerable. And actually, most of dormoises they close to the extinction. So, what is the resilience then? So, the resilience in nature is ability of individuals, species, or the whole ecosystem to resist to some particle damage and to recover quickly afterwards. So, what is then the most resilient? Water bears are called the toughest animals on the planet. They are tiny, only half of millimeter length, but they can withstand uh, enormous pressures from the environment. And scientists love them. There are actually more water bears in the cosmos than humans, because if we can survive only few seconds in the open space, so they can fly there and come back and then recovered without any spacesuits. And how they achieve that? They can slow down their metabolic rate by 99%, and they can lose more than 90% of their body water, and they went into stage called cryptobiosis. It's kind of state where they can withstand temperatures below 270 degrees Celsius or above 100 degrees. That means they can survive being in the boiling water, or and they can stay in such condition for years, even for decades, and afterwards they can recover pretty quickly. So this is about animals, and what is the toughest plant on the earth? So firstly, weeds came to my mind. That mean they're really superpower plants because every year, every day, hundreds of scientists they are breaking their heads by trying to find a ways how to eradicate them from our cultivated fields. Here is a chickweed. If you like gardening, you must know it for sure. And how they become so adaptive, so resilient. That means we are trying all the ways we know to eradicate them, and they revive again and again. So chickweed, they they recover very quickly, and they flourish during the disturbances. How they achieve that? Because of this speed, this quick reaction, they just outcompete the rest of the plants, and all the energy they invest to seed bank. They produce many of the seeds and just store them in the soil, and they can stay here for many years. Some seeds actually can sprout even after 2000 years. So the seed is kind of like a spaceship to the future. This is another one of my good friends. I like gardening, and for many years I was searching the way how to eradicate it. The plant is really small, and usually you just cut the top part of it, but the deep, it's really deep one. And yesterday I want to present you how deep it is, so I tried to dig one. It took about half an hour. Up. I reached about 1 meter length, and finally, unincidentally, I cut it. And I'm happy about that because I don't know how long I would need to dig more. And how the way they survive. This is the story. A few years ago, I tried to search the ways how to get rid of them, and Google offer more than 300,000 of solutions, but actually none of them effective because all the energy they send to their roots, and they can't always revive back from their root. So where else is strength? Where else come resilience of separate species? So the resilience can be in the community, in relations between separate individuals of the same species. For example, ants, bees, it's such called superorganisms. Like biomass of ants, it's higher than the biomass of humans, despite they are so tiny, but they're so effective. There you can see excavation field of one ant colony, and they can live more than 10 millions of individuals. That means it's like a huge city, bigger than London, and somehow they manage to survive and to solve all their problems they're facing. So what I like about social insects, so whatever topic you will take, you can see what kind of solution they took many thousand years ago, and maybe we can get some inspirations. The next level, how people how they adapt to disturbances, is cooperation between different separate species. So the example can be lichens. They can live in very hostile conditions in the north, whereas below zero, temperatures drop below zero almost every night. And how they achieve that? There are actually few species they grow inter one to each other. That means the fungi form kind of like a house, and the algae inside they produce all the carbohydrates, like the food for the fungi and themselves. Mycorrhiza as well is that same. It's when trees, plants, the same weeds and and fungi, they form very intimate relationship, which makes them really kind of superpower organisms. And the fourth level is the resilience of the ecosystem. An ecosystem, it's so complex that I don't know. It's astonishing. It's difficult to fit to our minds how many different organisms and different relations, different reactions there are within. And what makes the ecosystem resilient is in general the diversity of the species, the diversity of superpowers the species possess, the diversity of social interactions, social relations within the species, and the strength and diversity of relations between separate species. And we are actually just a part of the ecosystem. There are more cells of of microflora organisms than cells of our own in our own body. That means we are not able to be resilient if the ecosystem around us is not resilient. So the only way to stay resilient is to have contact and keep the ecosystem, the surrounding around you, healthy and resilient. Thank you.